You take the sound, any sound, record it,
Look,
and
it's
then
blood.
change its nature.
Get away
by multiple operations.
Open the floodgates.
Record it at different speeds, play it backwards, and it to itself over and over again. You adjust filters, echoes, acoustic qualities. You combine segments of magnetic tape. By these means and many others, you can create sounds.
Oh, so Buddy just messaged me. He's just like, I have a friend who's trying to collect all 151 Pokemon cards, and I'm like, does he have any like variants or versions that he wants? And he hasn't gotten back to me. And I was like, I mean, I guess I'd suggest this person. I know that they're the most up to date on it. And then I thought for a second. I was like, nah, fuck that guy. Go to these people I've known forever.
I mean, why not plug the homie? Oh, pause. Pause. Why not support the fam, right? Instead.
The fam being, in this case, Matt, George, Robbie, and Cody out at Tournament City Games.
Oh, it's not Token NTG.
It's not Token MTG in this case.
Oh, but shout out to Token NTG.
Because y'all are the homie.
Hopefully that code Zig still gets you.
It does get you 10% off. Someone use the code.
Please,
Otherwise,
anybody
we're
use
just
the
gonna hit
code.
up Cody and Matt and be like,
hey.
if anybody at Token even listens, you're on the clock, dog.
Get back to work. Speaking of back to work, the boys are back in town. The boys.
Shout out to Thin Lizzy.
Do you feel like that was a good cold open?
Well, no, I was gonna say the cold open that really works is you talking about going on stage and doing stand-up after me trying to convince him for so long.
It wasn't really like I needed convincing to do it. It was more like a matter of convenience, right?
And Alex putting your name on the list.
Shorty really did kind of like just put the spotlight on me, like unintentionally. Like, I mean, she name dropped me by a government and everything. Right?
God damn, she fell on the sword for you.
Yeah.
Whew, did she fall on
mean,
the sword? Alex, I'm sorry, but you fell on the sword for him.
Listen, shout out to Space Kitten, the unofficial, official producer of the podcast. Right? She came with us to Zizmos. Shout out to Zizmos. Who's the host of the open mic night there?
It depends. I think last time we went, it was Dennis.
I feel like that's who it's been every time I've gone with you, which has only been
Jeff.
twice now.
I see Jeff, the amputee, host a lot.
Oh, do you? Okay.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, no, I didn't get to see Jeff's stand-up, right? But I did finally go up and check stand-up off of my bucket list. Will I be doing it again? I guess we'll see. You guys should tune in to see whether or not I actually go up again.
He will. Because on the way home, he was saying like, man, I wish I did this. Man, I forgot that. And I'm like, yeah, this sounds like something he's going to want to do.
Well, I mean,
right?
For somebody who improv'd his first set, right, like, I really went up there, like, after thinking about something for I guess the 2 hours that we had been there.
Yeah.
Right. So if you got to see it on the Flood Pod Instagram, shout out to you for following the Flood Pod
at the Flood Pod on everything.
And if you're here because you heard me do stand up at Zizmos, shout out to you for following the Flood Pod. At least this far, right? And we are rising up. And
stumbling through that intro.
Crashing through back at you with this week's pop culture hot takes. It is I, the one and only Docstradamus, Docrates, Doc, if you please.
Well, and I am the one and only Ziggy Danny G, former government representee.
And we are The Flood Pod, your favorite weekly pop culture digest, bringing you our pop perspective.
To put culture in context.
And make the mainstream make sense.
Because if we do not make sense, we don't make dollars.
Holla, and speaking of dollars, we have to shout out to our first ever patron.
That's always a boss.
Hey, shout out to you, big guy.
Shout out. We're
Enraged Peacock. In the Discord. If you guys are not in the Discord, then you need to
join the Discord. It's an
join
open
the
link
Discord.
invite. I said it so it doesn't
totally
expire.
And if you follow us at the Flood Pod on everything, then you already know
You can join the Discord.
where to find us.
But yeah, woo!
Shout out to Enraged Peacock.
Thank you.
Thank
EP.
you for falling on the sword and being the first patron for your favorite Disaster Piece podcast. Back at it again. And
But yes,
this,
for real, we do appreciate it. Big moral victory.
Shout
and
out to
milestone for us, and
shout out to all of our listeners, even the ones who don't, patron. And
yeah,
we
because
appreciate
if we didn't
y'all.
have any listeners at all, we probably just would have jumped off a bridge. I would have. He is a family. This got dark.
It's not that easy of an out for me. Speaking of easy outs, you know who wishes he had an easy out this week? Joe Biden, because he just keeps putting his foot in his goddamn mouth. This week, during a congressional Black Caucus celebration of hip hop, he slipped around and called one of the founding fathers of hip hop boy.
You know who else wishes they had an easy out? The Denver Broncos. They lost by 50
points. Ugh. Listen, I'm sure they are right in line with Russia when it comes to wishing they had an easy out, because this war in Ukraine thing is just like...
It wasn't an easy out, but the WGA has tentatively reached a deal.
All that and more after we break down this week's Billboard Top 5, right? Like, as you know we like to do here, we like to feed the algorithm gods, and one of the easiest ways to do that is by dropping what you guys have been streaming.
And this week's hit on the algorithm is...
A little throwback to
Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo. Again.
Yeah, back at number 1, knocking Doja Cat's Paint the Town Red down to number 2. Zach Bryan's I Remember Everything is sitting at number 3. Fast Car by Luke Combs is still riding at number 4. And Cruel Summer with Taylor Swift at number 5.
Try
right?
that in a small town.
Yikes. And I think while we're, mentioning some throwbacks, I have to give a little shout out to some throwbacks that I was listening to, keeping in the spirit of the country music that the country has been obsessed with over the... I'm still not sure that that's not some kind of marketing psyop. No disrespect to Luke Combs and Morgan Wallen, right? But it's a little wild.
No disrespect because you respect the check.
I mean, listen, put some respect on the check, right? But I keep my windows down when I be driving, especially during the summer, right? Because it was hot, right? Some people listeners are probably like, "What you mean? Why does the AC in your car not work? Why are you riding with the windows down?" Anyway, no, I'm not hearing all this Morgan Wallen y'all claiming is getting played, right? And maybe I just don't have the ear for it, right? There are lots of Taylor Swift songs I didn't know were Taylor Swift songs.
Yep.
Right. But as far as country music goes, I got something to put y'all listeners on to. I don't know if you've heard Shabuzi before. This has been in my rotation, and this came out about a year ago, according to YouTube, right? But this is a black, right. This is a black country artist with a little bit of that hip hop feel.
You know the meme of all of the guys with the profile pictures in their truck with the hat and the sunglasses?
Yeah.
They'd probably be like, "Yeah, I'm not much of a fan."
Yeah. See, this is my point, right? This is why I brought this up, right? Because with all this country music dominating the charts right now, with so it's there's this heavy.
That sounded cool.
There's this heavy mix in the country right now. I feel culturally of hip hop and country music.
Like, that
right?
song had, like, a
And
country twang, but it also had, like, the haunting of like...
my man said the haunting. I bet you that's how Jason Aldean would feel, too.
No,
right?
I'm saying, like, it gave me almost, like, Griselda vibes a little.
Did you say Griselda vibes? No,
Not
definitely
Griselda,
not
like
Griselda vibes, but
Weekend.
like, so yet I was gonna say it's
Like
in
something
the
dirty,
vein
something
of like
darker.
a Post Malone, right? Like I could definitely see like a Post Malone feature on the track, right? Like, but what I really want is for y'all to prove to me that country music is not racist, and I need like.
We need him to go number one.
I need Luke Combs. I need Luke Combs on a remix, right? Like if it's really like not like that, then where Morgan Wallen at? Like Morgan Wallen hit up Shabuzi, like get the feature going. Like prove to me what it really is, because y'all say it's not like that. I've found over the last couple of weeks, almost like a plethora of a playlist of black country artists, and maybe it's me. Right?
It's your algorithm for damn sure.
Maybe it's me. Maybe it's personal preference, right? But I don't know. Country music, I just feel like as I was listening, I was like, maybe it's the percussion, right? Maybe if country music had a bit more percussion in it.
But yeah, it had like this haunting kind of sound to it with the beat, where it would like sync and then just like pop up.
I mean, as far as the production goes,
instead
right?
of haunted strip club music like The Weeknd, it was a haunted, nearly empty country bar.
So a dive bar, just like a regular ass dive bar.
More or less, yeah. But this one with ghosts.
Well, because when you say haunted ass empty country bar, that's what it makes me think of. Like,
I mean, yeah,
pit stop, truck stop type shit.
yeah.
So the Shabuzi album is Cowboys Live Forever, Outlaws Never Die. It's totally like a fucking like
Sandlot
hip-hop.
reference?
It's like a hip hop twist on
That is a Sandlot reference.
outlaw country. Are you sure that's a Sandlot reference?
Heroes live forever, but legends never die.
I feel like he's totally like, especially when you look at the videos for some of the songs on the album. A couple of my favorite songs were Tall Boy, Snakes, Beverly Hills was a good one, Gas was another good one.
You know what else came out this week as far as music is concerned? A new Blink-182 song.
Oh, yes. So we did get a chance to preview that before we did the pod this week, and it was a rather melancholy kind of feature.
It gave me
right?
Stay Together for the Kids vibe as far as Blink-182 goes.
Like, we're back because you guys demanded it.
Oh no, that's Adam's song. That's even sadder. How do you feel about seeing Blink again?
Like I said, it was rather melancholy. It does feel kind of like Staying Together for the Kidsy now that you put it that way, right? Like, I'm not
That's also the name of a Blink-182 song.
I'm not saying that nobody was checking for Blink-182, because obviously we're all missing that sound. By the way, if you're missing that sound, check out Magnolia Park. That's just another gem I'm gonna drop in the middle of this. I do feel like it sounds a little forced.
Are you glad that Blink is back?
Yes, because I do feel like there is a void that has been left by the just like reluctance, it seems like, of bands to come out with that kind
bands.
of yeah
like bands,
yeah,
like
it's
just
a
that
scarcity
come together as a collective with a name.
Yeah, there's a scarcity of that, right? And I thought we might have gotten a resurgence of that when Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak got together for the like Silk Sonic collective, right? Like I really thought, I was like, oh, are these niggas about to bring like 70s like R&B bands back? Because that would have been heavy, right?
Like the Chili Peppers dropped 2 albums in the past 2 years, and I'm a big Chili Peppers fan, and they have their original guitar player back. But you know what? Albums didn't hit with me. I listened to them like once through, and I was like, I listened.
Rock music has been on a like lifeline for a while now,
Yeah,
right?
Just like I did my yearly duty while we were on the way to stand up. Of every year, I listened to the album Nevermind. That album is fucking incredible.
See, and I also, alright, so I kind of feel like part of the reason why rock music has been on this lifeline for a while now
Because they're all dead.
is because you guys won't give anything new a try, right? Like, it's almost like what's happening with rap music now, except for rap music is weird. We don't want to give anybody new a try, but like we don't want to listen to old rappers either. So now we're all stuck in a loop of like listening to Lil Baby for like 20 and the Migos 24/7, right? If it's not that, then it's Young or Lil Durk and Drake, right?
Rip Takeoff.
I don't know if that's like, you know, mass media's fault, right? For not promoting newer, more independent or original sounding artists, or if that is our fault as consumers.
Or is it not the mass media's fault, but the amass of media's fault? The fact that everybody has found their
You
tiny...
think you're clever? Do you think you thought that was clever?
I do. How everybody has found their own little personal echo chamber, so therefore there is a lack of things that actually become quote-unquote monoculture that actually are able to permeate through every single sphere of society.
Okay, so this gets back to something that we talked about, I think, a couple of episodes ago, or we might not have even gotten a chance to talk about it because we've been gone on break for a while. The Taylor Swift effect. We did talk about this because who is it like, isn't it like USA Today or somebody is hiring
a full-time Taylor Swift reporter.
beat reporter, right? Like, and they are saying that she is an example of what becoming like a monolith celebrity looks like in the streaming era, right? Because it has been hard, especially with, like you said, the abundance of and saturation of content that there is now, right? Like there are all these tiny fandoms for these little independent artists, but because there's so much of that now,
each person has overlapping,
and nobody is all encompassing, right? Like the closest thing we get in hip hop right now is Drake, right? Yeah. Outside of, you know, everybody who the legends who made it over from the old guard. Drake, maybe Lil Baby, Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B.
If you want me to talk about bands, if they dropped an album
Nicki
where
Minaj.
it actually matter, the first one, because it's done it every single time, is Tool. Like, as far as bands. Like,
but they're from the old guard. That's what I'm talking about. Like, what new artist, right? Like, what new artist do you know is really doing that? And that's why Taylor Swift is such an icon at this moment, because she is like
a mainstay that's been able to
more so than I would say like a Drake, right? Like at this point, Taylor Swift is doing like Beyonce, Jay-Z, Eminem numbers, right?
Not only that, just look at her aesthetics through her career arc. She's changed. I mean, her current tour is called the Eras Tour for a reason,
right? Yeah,
like
because she started out as that country pop icon.
Do you know another artist that considered themselves through eras?
Madonna?
David Bowie.
Oh. Both of which, you know,
were very transformative artists.
Yeah, and like very iconic, right? Like couldn't go anywhere without being recognized, fans fainting when
Bowie
they see them, kind of.
Because he would just change his fucking persona.
Yeah, I mean, but
everybody checking for Ziggy Stardust. I'm gonna go out like the Thin White Duke.
So, at this point, what do you think it takes to reach like that kind of like Taylor Swift level? Do you think that is still something that is achievable at
all right,
this
let's
stage?
Try to put a frame of reference into this. How much bigger is Taylor than Mr. Beast?
I feel like that's a weird comparison, but I'll play along and I will say that there's probably a fair amount of overlap there, believe it or not.
But Taylor definitely has more.
Definitely has more of an outreach than Mr. Beast does at this point. Even if it's by a small margin.
Let's give me a ratio.
5-1.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's at least 3-1 Taylor.
Yeah, I would say 5.
Here's another one. Taylor Swift versus LeBron James.
I think Taylor probably has a larger fan base than LeBron James.
Oh, yeah, no, she absolutely does, but how much larger?
I feel like that's probably by a small margin too, though, because I'm sure there
Bigger
are
or smaller?
Than Mr. Beast. I'm gonna say smaller than the margin of Mr. Beast, because there are foreign sports fans that probably know Taylor Swift but are bigger fans of LeBron James and have no idea who Mr. Beast is.
Now let's carry out on international sports. Taylor Swift versus Messi.
I feel like that's probably, once again, a smaller margin than LeBron and Taylor, right?
I think globally, it's probably Messi.
I think it's Messi that you would make that argument, because...
You think you're clever, don't you?
We're talking...
You think you're clever, don't you?
We're talking Taylor Swift. We're Swifties. Like, these people are literally, like, changing their, like, lifestyle habits and, like, planning outfits and stuff around her concerts. And,
like I said, I'm...
Like, how big of an artist do you think Doja Cat is at this point in time?
Not nearly as big as
Taylor Swift. Don't you think... Hold on, because you just got to cook, though. Don't you think that Doja Cat is still, like, a pretty big icon at this point in time? Right? Like,
yeah, but I'm in class, my internship, where I'm helping to build a media campaign. It is me and 5 women, and as soon as the Taylor Swift movie was announced, and I'm sure you heard about all of the concerns with, like, the theater safety and things like that.
Yeah.
They were like, oh my god, I need to buy tickets, like, right now. I'm gonna, like, jump up and down.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm
no,
like,
yeah, the movie
they really are this crazy.
Yeah, the movie isn't becoming a movement, is what I'm saying. Right? Like, Taylor Swift is on a whole nother level, right? But what I was saying is even with as big of an artist as we both think Doja Cat is at the moment, right?
Pales in comparison to Taylor.
She's still only predicted to sell 600,000 her first week of her brand new album, is what I'm saying. Not even comparing her to Taylor, right? Like, I'm saying on her own, as much of an icon as Doja Cat is, her next album is still only anticipated to do less than 1 million.
Mr. Beast going pocket live. There you go. That's a difference. The difference between Taylor and the second biggest artist is so wide that the biggest YouTuber trumps the second biggest artist by a substantial margin.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Speaking of Taylor Swift, since that's all anybody can talk about, anytime she is anywhere, including the VMAs, right? Like,
Taylor Swift was spotted at the Chiefs game after an invitation from Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. Chiefs All-Pro tight end Travis Kelce.
Was it even really an invitation though, or was it just a joke tweet? Like, do you think it was legitimately him shooting a shot? Because, I mean, she is newly single, isn't she?
I believe she is newly single. As of April, she ended her 6-year relationship with Joe Alwyn. As her world tour was picking up steam in the United States. According to NBC News.
And the world tour is wrapping up, right? Her Eras tour is wrapping up, so why not celebrate with some fucking arm candy, right? Like, we call it Travis Kelce shooting his shot, right? But maybe Taylor is more like a puma, right? And has been eyeing him for a very long time. You know how they say, like, if you see a big cat, the big cat has already been watching you for a while? Yo, he shot a shot, she showed up to the motherfucking game and sank her claws into him quicker than fucking TMZ could say, what about Lori?
The Chiefs tight end attended the Eras Tour in July when Swift was performing at Arrowhead Stadium, his team's home turf. Her fans who called themselves Swifties posted about his appearance on social media. Travis and his brother Jason, who also plays in the NFL, later discussed his appearance at the concert on their podcast, New Heights, and a clip of it was posted to their TikTok account July 26th. He said he attended the show and was butthurt that Swift wasn't able to speak to him prior to her performance. If you're up on Taylor Swift concerts, there are friendship bracelets, Kelsey said, and I received a bunch of them being there, and I wanted to give Taylor Swift one of my number on it. Your number as in 87 or your phone number? His brother asked. You know which one, Kelsey joined.
Right? So, as I just feel like I've just been proven, legitimate. Why is this news? It's news just because it's hot goss, right?
Because it's Taylor Swift it's Travis Kelce.
It's hot goss, right?
Yeah, it's the best tight end in the NFL who plays for the reigning Super Bowl champions with the biggest pop star in the world.
Meanwhile,
this is tabloid heroin. Are you kidding me?
Meanwhile, Kim Kardashian is somewhere seething because she can't get Kanye back.
She's like, damn it, why did I have to hook up with the crazy one? Have you listened to his music? The good music? The good book? The good life? The good morning?
You just gonna keep rolling, huh? I was just gonna let you keep going.
I was actually surprised how many fucking Kanye references I could make with just the word good. I got nothing else. I don't know what you're expecting from me. I'm not that good.
I was just waiting to see if you had any more to add to this Travis Kelce Taylor Swift.
Interviewers have not held back in asking Kelce Taylor Swift related questions or using Swift related puns.
They were swift with the comparisons.
I see what you did there. Travis said on the Pat McAfee show, who's getting a lot more attention now that he's on ESPN and collecting a giant bag, but anyway, I've seen you rock a stage in Arrowhead, so you might as well see me rock the stage at Arrowhead. And then she was seen at Arrowhead Stadium, wearing red, Chiefs colors, and then seen afterwards walking out of the stadium with Travis Kelce.
All I'm saying is Taylor's not low. I compared her to a puma earlier because she's still too young to be called a cougar, but
also Travis is her age. Travis is older than we are still. I mean, Travis is 33.
First of all, speak for yourself. I, however, will be 34 next year.
You're the same age as Travis Kelce,
which is why I said I called Taylor a puma for a reason, because she's still too young to be called a cougar. But Taylor, you're not low. Game recognized game. I know what you're doing.
She's still in her peer group. She's apparently, if she's dating Travis Kelce, she is like the most socially acceptable age of the same.
That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is at a certain point, we keep giving men credit for the bag, right? Everybody's like, oh, Travis Kelce shot his shot jokingly, and
even Travis knows that Taylor matters more than him.
Taylor knows what she's doing, right? This nigga showed up to her concert and then tweeted out, I'm mad that we didn't get a chance to meet, and then was like, hey, come to my game, and she was like, okay, boo, I see you. It was almost like, if you win, we'll leave together, right? I'm here, show off for me. Is what I'm saying. This is not a win for Travis Kelce. This is another notch for Taylor. Thank you. That's
she took a day out of her busy schedule.
That's all I'm saying.
That's just gonna be the running meme for me. Is anytime she makes a public appearance. She took time out of her busy-ass schedule
to unhinge her jaw and swallow another one.
Man, I feel like
that joke
has... Like now...
That joke has layers to it. One. Two...
You and I know, bitch. Be humble.
Two... There's no disrespect to Taylor.
No, I was just quoting Kendrick Lamar.
I just totally... You're not low. Tay-Tay. You're not low.
She knows what she wants.
She's a grown-ass woman who knows what she wants.
I mean, there's a lot of things that can be said against Taylor. There's a lot can be said for Taylor. I gotta say, however, she does treat her crew fantastically.
You know who wasn't swift or low whatsoever? Everybody's favorite Uncle President, Joe Biden. Joe Biden was at the Congressional Black Conference in Phoenix for the award ceremony there. And while they were honoring some of the founding members of hip-hop, some of the luminaries, including LL Cool J and Queen Latifah, MC Lyte, Joe Biden had another one of his notorious gaffes. First and foremost, and couldn't even pronounce LL Cool J's name, called him LLJ Cool J.
Getting a few artists there mixed up, buddy.
Then proceeded to hit one of the worst microaggressions he could have possibly hit at probably one of the worst times to hit the microaggression. And in an attempt to compensate for messing up LL Cool J's name, called him boy when addressing the size of his biceps. He was like, that boy, that man has biceps bigger
I didn't even know
than
if he corrected himself
my
and said
thighs.
man after that.
He did correct himself. Not swiftly, might I add, but he did correct himself. Still weird when going to make a comment on the physical stature of somebody who is receiving an award.
At least he didn't try to ask to touch his hair. Maybe he doesn't even have hair.
No, I was gonna say that would have made it extra awkward. At least he didn't ask to touch his bicep, right? After commenting on.
Oh wow, you're a strong one.
Yeah. See, listen, that's all I'm saying when you say that boy there got biceps bigger than your thighs. Let me tell you, that's good stock right there. That's good stock. It was a very Joe Biden gaffe, to say the least. As far as Joe Biden running for re-election, though, I really would like for him to cue again, sit down, be humble. He's not. It's not like Joe is doing a terrible job at being president. It's just not a hey, we'd like to see you back here again next year kind of.
How many voodoo dolls do you think Kamala has?
I have been seeing an alarming amount of stories where they're like, Kamala Harris has stated that she's ready to take on the position should she need to, right? And I'm just like, what are we alluding to? I know, but then I hear stuff like Joe Biden slipping up and calling LL Cool J boy, and I'm like, maybe they know more than we know, right? Like Mitch McConnell people, right? Like they say it wasn't a stroke, and maybe it wasn't a stroke.
The government was like, we went through this for 3 years, and a vegetable known as Ronald Reagan. We don't want to do it again.
Donald Trump sitting back like, boy, I would never.
I should show you my test scores.
I would never call LL Cool J boy to his face. First of all,
he probably wouldn't, because I'm actually pretty confident they've probably met before.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. I'm certain that LL Cool J has,
rubbed shoulders
already,
with Donald Trump.
has some kind of reputation or relationship with Donald Trump, right?
Party friends.
Yeah.
Social event friends.
To say the least. They've met at some kind of fundraiser before.
I mean,
right?
Donald Trump's in fucking Zoolander, which is one of my favorite movies.
He's also name dropped in several rap bars throughout the history of rap.
And some great bars.
He, however, does not have
The
great...
best bud.
He, however, does not have great bars at all. It probably has trash bars, to be completely...
However, he has the opportunity to get bars 4 times!
to get thrown behind bars. So as we are getting closer to election season, how, with shit like this, how likely do you think it is that we will just be seeing Biden v. Trump 2.0?
It's gonna be versus again.
Like, how sad is that?
It's literally versus
And is is Joe Biden calling LL Cool J boy worse than Donald Trump's hot mic, whatchamacallit?
Trump's hot mic is worse.
Grab him by the pussy?
Yeah, that's worse.
You think grab him by the pussy
I think that was worse. Because I at least give Biden credit, like you said, he corrected himself immediately.
Yeah, no, Trump doubled down. It was like, what?
Even if
It's
Biden
true.
did it for a PR perspective, just like, oh, my PR brain kicked in.
This is probably a better comparison would be like Covfefe to this.
That was his Twitter figures going all stupid.
Trump had way too many. I feel like when we compare Biden's gaffes to Trump's, like...
I will say, there's one video that came out of the Trump administration where, like, he acknowledged the Covfefe thing. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. Like, the one time I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny.
I mean, Trump was unintentionally funny plenty of times, right?
Yeah.
This, however, was just sad, right? So just like, damn, Joe, you are... It's
Every
like...
time Joe, like, he's had a few moments where I'm like, okay, like the Philadelphia speech where he was like, fuck Nazis.
Yeah, but
That was good.
I feel like more often than not, I feel like Mick watching Joe in like the 4th round of Rocky.
Great. He did
Like-
great. Oh, yeah.
Like, throw in the towel. You can't keep doing this to yourself, Rock. Like, stop.
Which Rocky was this?
The first one, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He did get his ass whooped in the first one.
Yeah, yo.
Beats Apollo in 2. And then he barely beats Mr. T in 3.
Yeah, dude, and it's like...
And then you got Drago in 4 and 5.
And I really just feel like we're watching, like, late-stage Rocky here. And I'm just like, get him out of there, man. Like, how bad does Biden really want this? Are we just, like, gassing him up every morning? Like, come on, you got this, Joe. And he's like, oh, can't I just sit with my crossword puzzles and stare out the window today? They're like, no.
I feel like
no,
Biden
Joe.
is almost like the Winter Soldier. How they just like put him in carbonation and then just unfreeze him every time they need him.
He'd just be wheeling off at the end of the day like, did I do good today? And Kamala be like, yes, Joe, you did good. Can I have applesauce? Yes, Joe, you can have applesauce. Yo, it's just, I know he's got to be tired, right? He's got to be tired. Kamala's
Too
like...
old for this shit. Remember, I did say I wanted to, before 2024, I want to make a 2024 bingo card of absurd shit and see if we get any of it.
Speaking of absurd shit and getting any of it, the WGA has finally reached a tentative agreement with the AMPTP. That's right.
We don't have many of the details
none
because
of the
they said they
details.
will not release them until the final I is dotted and the final T is crossed, as they should.
But as of now, it seems like the AMPTP is finally getting it. That Hollywood does not move forward without the writers, and they have made the concessions that the WGA feels are necessary enough to finally call an end to what was almost the longest strike in WGA history.
Meanwhile, SAG-AFTRA carries on.
Yes.
However, probably reinvigorated knowing that their partners in labor were able to come to what they deem as a fair agreement with the AMTPT.
And I don't think that this was, like, in any way, like, a small victory, right? Especially as far as labor movements
Because
are
the auto
concerned.
workers remain on strike.
And if the Writers Guild can take on Hollywood producers, then I feel like the United Auto Workers have more than a shot at taking on the automotive industry.
I also say that SAG-AFTRA has more bargaining chips than WGA.
Yeah, no, I feel like because the Screen Actors Guild has the name recognition that the Writers Guild didn't have.
The face, they have the image.
Yeah, that's what I mean by name recognition, right? Like, we've seen the credits at the end of the shows. We still don't know who these writers are or have a face to put to them. Most of them,
positive.
Anyway.
These two unions' leadership have been working together, talking amongst themselves how to divide the pie amongst themselves.
Yeah, I feel like the Screen Actors Guild and the WGA often work very closely together, right?
Not only in labor negotiations, but also in production and creation of all of this content.
Unlike the Directors Union, which was out within like the first 2 months of the strikes, right?
They didn't even hit strike for their union.
No, I don't. No, they didn't. No, at all. Right. So, shout out to the WGA on securing the bag. Respect the check, and
we'll see how the directors feel about this in a few years. From what I saw, the WGA contract is for 3 years.
Well, I mean,
shorter contracts probably better, considering the pace and increase of of AI and things like that.
Right, yeah. Putting everything into perspective here, then
this is not like an athlete's contract where you sign for 10 years, your whole fucking life is set.
Yeah. But
they're adapting to a changing media landscape, so having something that's more than a year to build good faith is good, but less than a decade so they can adapt to changing technologies.
Right, especially
hopefully
because
by the time that 3-year gap has closed to where Hollywood executives and writers have both learned how to adapt to the new technology and emergence of things like AI and its mass utilization, they will have already integrated it into production, and hopefully as a result will know what both parties are able to find in the next round of collective negotiation 3 years from now, to where a strike is prevented.
Especially while the streaming market is still kind of like settling into what it's going to be in the industry, right? Like, streaming as we know it is changing.
I believe one of the things that they were talking about was more transparency in quote-unquote ratings.
And just ratings, subscription numbers, right? What the shows are doing, like that kind of ad revenue that is coming from all of that, especially as more of these platforms move away from ad-free tiers and things like that. Like now, Amazon Prime will be charging for ad-free. Right, so they will have their lowest rated tier will include ads, and then you will have to pay more for Amazon Prime without ads. And they are joining, the ranks of Hulu. Netflix just introduced an ad tier programming subscription slot as streaming tries to figure out how it's going to secure its revenue. The shorter contracts are probably in favor of the writers and the actors, like you said, because we still have lots of
they need
small
more than a year
bits and ends.
Think about when we started our podcast. We weren't fucking talking about AI at all.
No, not in 2020. We had started talking about...
And that was 4 years ago. By then,
we had started talking about deepfakes and things of that nature, though, at that point, right? Deepfake, that kind of technology had started to become an issue then, because even like Matt Stone and Trey Parker had that studio that they had been experimenting with.
Just started to become an issue. Now AI is at the forefront, and that's in a 4-year gap.
Right.
That's the WGA is signing up for
3 years.
3-year gap.
Yeah.
To where they'll not only be able to adopt, but also adapt to, I think I'm clever, implementation and use of AI. And the executives will also get the chance to learn the value of AI, but also the fallible nature of it by not having a human touch.
Right, because I do feel like there is a clear rush that is being shown here and being seen to adapt, like you said, to the implementation of AI technology and how it can be used to either cut corners and cost down in production, or used to as a tool to help alleviate writers and cut back on production time.
Like, think about it this way. Like, an AI is just fed every single romantic comedy in existence, and then it's told to write a script. It would show up like Mike Tyson having to, like, and now they kiss!
They did make there is like an AI, I forget what it's called, but there is like an AI written movie that was put out, and it
South Park
did
had an
terribly.
AI written episode, and it turned out to be a mediocre episode of South Park. I think all of the jokes that actually hit were lowbrow.
Yeah, because when you feed AI all of that data, it's going to like average it out, right? And like the average out of South Park jokes is probably going to land somewhere in the like lowbrow, low-hanging fruit category. The same way when Google introduced Tay to the internet, and she spent 3 hours on Twitter and it immediately became like a fucking racist neo-Nazi fascist bot, and it's because it averaged out all of the data that it was being fed, and it was overwhelmingly being fed racist, fascist, Nazi data.
And I just throw this back to the very old Mountain Dew internet poll of name the Mountain Dew flavor, and the overwhelming amount, the Mountain Dew flavor would have been Mountain Dew. Hitler did nothing wrong.
The fucking like accumulation of them taking a poll to name a boat ended up with the boat being named Boaty McBoatface. So yes, AI art is really good because there's a plethora, like in a mind-bogglingly, like just unfathomable amount of images on the internet for AI to scrape data from.
You know what, right? I actually want to ask an AI to do?
So I have no doubt that AI can make good artwork, right?
Here's what I want to ask an AI. It's very easy to ask an AI to make a picture of something and make it just look beautiful, right? What if I asked an AI to make an abstract painting representing happiness? What would they make? What would it make? Would it understand?
With the Screenwriters Guild finally reaching their tentative agreement.
The Writers Guild.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not the
Writers Guild of
not the
America.
Screenwriters Guild. The WGA, not the SWGA. With the WGA finally reaching their tentative agreement, shows will probably more than likely begin resuming within the next couple of months, especially like your talk shows and things like that are more quick to turn over.
We should be getting our late night television shows probably back next week.
Providing that everybody plays ball and all the agreements are comparable to all of the people in attendance. How do you feel about Amazon Prime introducing an ad tier to their streaming service? How do you feel about streaming services introducing ad tiers to the, because it's like one of the reasons everybody is moved away from cable in the first place was because we were tired of the proliferation
what pisses me off
of
is
commercials.
the ad-supported versions now cost what the streaming service originally cost.
Yeah, I mean,
$10 a month for Netflix back then was great.
Yeah.
$10 a month now for ads put at really inopportune times in the middle of an episode.
I feel like even in the very beginning,
YouTube
online
ads
Netflix.
are the fucking worst. It'll be like,
Oh, dude, don't get me started on YouTube ads. But in the very beginning, I feel like online Netflix only cost like $8 a month.
yeah,
Right? In the very beginning. Now, like, yeah, their ad tier is like $10 a month. Right?
Yeah.
So it's still like $2
and
more.
yet y'all assholes will blame inflation.
Amazon Prime, I don't think Disney. Paramount Plus has an ad tier subscription. Hulu has an ad tier subscription.
Yep. But Hulu also has a bundle with ESPN Plus and Disney Plus. Because Disney promises there's shit you want to watch on Disney Plus that isn't something you watch in the theater.
Because Disney bought Hulu and was like, oh, fuck, I guess we have to like keep this because people like it. And
they're like, somehow we have to make this all profitable. Fuck. Disney has been hemorrhaging money because of Disney Plus.
Thanks to antitrust laws, Disney can't just absorb Hulu into its Disney Plus catalog, right? Like, they can't monopolize the industry. As much as the mouse would love to just throw money at it and make it go away.
Hulu as a shell company.
They are pretty much just using Hulu as a show company. Dog, they bought ESPN without anybody realizing
Disney's owned ESPN for
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they bought ESPN without anybody realizing it, right? Like, I guarantee you most people didn't realize Disney owned ESPN until they were like, oh, I can get ESPN Plus in a package with Disney Plus.
Personally, I've known that for a very long time. Because I knew ESPN was owned by ABC. Because the ESPN commentators would do the ABC sports event.
And Disney owns ABC.
And then I knew Disney owned ABC.
If you didn't know, now you know. Disney also owns ABC. Because what does the mouse not own? Florida, apparently. As long as good goddamn Governor Ron Don Santon...
of Florida.
They
own some of Florida.
Enough of Florida to be a
piss off Ron DeSantis,
whose poll numbers are just dropping.
Do you think Rod actually sits in his office and he's just like, why does Florida have a goddamn Vatican?
No, I think at this point Ron is sitting in his office like, why did I have to pick a fight with that goddamn mouse? Cause
you think Italy's mad that they gave Vatican sovereign status?
No. Because it's probably one of the only reasons people still come to Italy. It's like, that's not fair to Italy.
It's not entirely off base, though.
It's not fair to Italy. They will always have pizza and pasta.
Yeah, but Catholics, it's not quite mandatory, like the pilgrimage to Mecca, but...
How many people a year do you think travel to Italy looking for Super Mario content?
All I know
Unintentionally.
is when I talk about Italy, we, a long time ago, talked about me writing a joke of Killer Mike, Joe Rogan, and Russell Brand walking into the Vatican. And all I know is this through line for this joke got a hell of a lot easier when you combine the Vatican with now Russell Brand.
Look, it's a flood! It's a flood! It's flooding!
Get away!
Quick, we need to get to higher ground!
Open the floodgates!
Wait, why can't we talk about Black Time?